Yes, yesterday we were talking about the concept of Tzarat Habayit, and we explained how, in a way, our perspective really changes the reality. Because if we would have Tzarat Habayit and we will complain, comes Rashi and explains to us that it's really a fact, not necessarily for Lashon Hara. The fact that you come to Eretz Yisrael, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to put Tzarat in your houses, on Negaim in your home, in order for you to remove the stones and really reveal treasures that the Knaanim and the Amorims left in the wall. So in a way, it is a good thing at the end, just that we, relatively to us right now, chose to look it back as a bad thing. That's why you can't always look at things as they are relatively now to your situation. You should be able to develop this ability to see things further. Tzarat is very weird and very bizarre and so on and so forth. I want to take a little different turn today and speak about it on a more Kabbalistic aspect. The Netziv brings, according to the Zohar, that the issue of Tzarat is not just a physical message that is carrying over, but more of a spiritual, or also, should I say, a spiritual dimension to it as well. Why? Because when we build a house, we're talking about Tzarat Habayit. When we build a house, we need to be very careful to establish a house from its foundation, establishing the house on the name of Torah, or a holy Torah, that the house will be established on concepts of Torah. When we say lehakim bait ne'eman be'Israel, to establish what most people would say, a loyal house in Israel. What does it mean, a loyal house? Al tikra shmo ne'eman ela emunah. In other words, a house that is going to be established on Jewish faith, on Jewish emunah. In other words, Torah values. So a person, when you build a house from the beginning, you have to be very careful that this is an understanding, regardless of anything. And I'm going to show you, Be'ezrat Hashem, about issues of beauty and so on and so forth most people fail with. However, when Bnei Israel came to Eretz Canaan, the Knaanim who were there built their houses not on Jewish foundations. L'shem Tum'ah they built a house. So therefore, it is a gift. It is a gift that you have or you were in a way forced to take apart your house and rebuild it again. It is very, very important. It's very important to understand that the people who used any item that you have a spiritual affliction on that subject itself, on that cloth that you wear, or on the house that you live, and so on and so forth. It would rub on you, as they say. So when you build a new house, this is most people would do that. They would paint, they would sand the floors, they would try to do something to show that there is a new person here, in a way to try to remove the memory of the previous owner. And it has to be done from the beginning, not only the house in terms of the husband and wife. We're talking here about the house itself. Of course, everything you could apply it from the physical to the spiritual. But it has to be established as much as your connection between the husband and wife from the very beginning before they dated. Before they go on a date, they need to understand, what am I looking for in the person? What are my values? And that's important. The Rambam teaches us that the whole issue of Nig'et Tzarat, those plagues of Tzarat, in person, in his clothes, or in his house, was only in Eretz Israel. Could not happen outside of Israel. Only in Eretz Israel. Why? Because of the greatness, Shabbat Shalom, because of the greatness of Eretz Israel. And he writes, Zeh, that refers to the Beged, Eino b'teva klal v'lo haya ba'olam v'chen nigei batim. It was the fact that there is tzarat on clothing or tzarat on houses is a new concept that was never before until Bnei Israel enter Eretz Israel, conquer the land, and settle down in it. Then all of a sudden there's this new phenomenon. Before it wasn't like that. And that's the mistake, by the way, that many people are going through. They refer to, and that's the problem there. It says, okay, Tzarat, as we said yesterday, Tzarat is leprosy, so it's not so spiritual and so on and so forth. But how can you explain all of a sudden that you might have some blemishes in your clothes that come and go? It's not mold or mildew. It's a blemish in your clothes that come and go, or in your house that comes and goes. There's no antibiotics for that. So you have to be very careful from people who will always take half the sentence or half an idea, manipulate it to the way they want to show you something. You say, hold on 1 second. Again, let's not look at this right now how we are. Let's look at the whole picture. Missionaries do this all the time. Take concepts, verses out of their content, and then twist it around. So the Ramban says, but when Eretz Israel, when the Jews are in Eretz Israel, are shlemim leHashem, it says over there, Ruach Hashem yeh aleim tamid, the Spirit of Hashem is going to be on them all the time, and to make sure that they are perfect. So you see, first of all, the connection between the external and the internal. The external and the internal. A lot of times the way you dressed will affect you spiritually. And sometimes the other way around. The way you feel inside is how you would dress outside. I remember there was a band in the 80s, and the name was the Smiths. And it was a band from England, so they had a song, and I remember that line kind of stuck in my head to understand that. It says, I wear black on the outside because black is what I feel on the inside. A very interesting concept, but it's very true. So when Am Yisrael is in Eretz Yisrael, in Shalem, in his spirit, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives them this tzarat, not as a punishment as well. Here we're trying to go to a different thing. Before we kept on saying that tzarat is a direct result of your actions. But what is the result of your actions? People think that God, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is this mean creature who looks for everything to punish the people, to give them pain and inflict pain and sorrow. This could not be so more removed from the truth. This is like, as east is far from west, that's how it is. Absolutely not. If you think so, you misunderstood completely the Torah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and everything that comes along with that. The Tzarat therefore comes to tell us that when there is an internal imbalance in the person, that his inside is not corresponding with the outside. There is an imbalance. There is an imbalance in him that surfaces out and comes to be verbalized in an action or in a speech or so on and so forth. That is an indicator. Habibi, something is wrong with you. So what do you need to do? You need to go out of the camp and sit there and contemplate about what have you done. In a way, regain your internal balance. You are off balance. Arrogance will do it to you. If you are an arrogant, pompous person, it will do it to you. And you see it from the punishment, or not the punishment, you see it from the sacrifice that we need to bring for the Metzorah. Among other things, he needs to bring cedar tree. He brings tolat shani, he brings some kind of a worm, and he brings ezov, hyssop, or some type of oregano, or something like that. Because when you are arrogant and vain, that will cause it to you. You should really be humble, like a worm or grass. This is very interesting. It changes your whole perspective on the interaction of God and man himself in this world. Now, let's talk a little bit more about inside and outside. Good coffee. The Torah, a few weeks ago, for few parashiyot, gave us a description of the Mishkan. Every detail of the Mishkan, build that, the whole thing. For the past 2 weeks, we've been dealing with the issues of Metzorah, with the same details that the Torah gives us for 2 parashiyot. There's hair in the clothes, and the hair is white, and there was black, and this was came first, and so on and so forth. With the same thing. It seems in a way a little bizarre that the Torah is talking about blemishes with such detail as the Torah will be talking about building the Mishkan, or some kind of a text that will give you spiritual elevation, Here we're talking about a blemish. That's strange. But there's no strange. The only thing is that we don't understand. And this is because of that's where we fail. People have blemishes. We all have blemishes. That's in the plan that we were born blemished. And we will never reach perfection. The only one who is perfect, with no blemishes, is God. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Almighty. The only one, the only exception to the rule. He is perfect, we are not. That imperfection inside of us sometimes could be geared well to strive to become so-called better or more, quote-unquote, perfect. That dynamic will create us a momentum towards reaching closer and closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. However, everybody has something about him or her that they don't like. This one has a big nose. This one is balding up a little bit, or a lot of bit. This one muscle tone is not so great. The other person has, you know what I'm saying. We all have blemishes. Regardless of how many sit-ups I'll do, I'm always going to have love handles. There's many push-ups I do, I'm going to have flabby arms. It's always like this. I've been doing this. And we become very obsessed with our blemishes, and we try to make them disappear, and yet they're always there. It becomes a mental disease to a certain point, especially with people who are very conscientious about their noses, right? And they keep always the nose is not perfect. They'll fix it up a little bit more, and I want a little bit angle. It's a nose, for crying out loud. It's a nose. People don't work. If people would work on the character as much as they work on the noses, we would have been in a much better place altogether. It'll be a messianic time. The Torah comes to teach us here a lesson. As much as the Torah puts everything on the table, detail by detail, about the most amazing things, there is more that is said about Metzorah than it says about Yetziat Mitzrayim or Matan Torah. Why? Because when you put everything on the table, you come to realize that that is you. There's no difference. The blemishes, your weak points, your strong points are all what constitutes you. And when you come to terms with your blemishes, only then, when you put it on the table, only then you could sit down and actually see and work on it and change and become better. But when you try to fix them in a different way, when you don't realize, it says, again, this nose is not mine. That's like somebody put it, it's not mine. I have a little hook nose. I mean, I wish I had like a little, pug nose like this. And then you go about obsessing about this, denying your own self. HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not see us as good or bad. He sees us all as good. With the potential to do the good. Only when you come to realize that you have to put it on the table, and you have to come and you have to say, and you have to realize and say it. Listen, I have this tendency and I have that tendency, and so on and so forth. That's why the Torah talks about for 2 parashiyot straight about Tzarat, just as much, because it is just as exciting to the Torah as it is the building of the Mishkan or anything else like that. This text is no different than any other texts. The internal war, the internal work that we need to do is one. But we cannot accomplish anything without knowing really who we are and coming to terms. I'm not saying give up, but you have to put it on the table. You have to admit that you have a certain tendency to do that. And then you can start making a plan of how slowly, directing it into a positive way. Don't break it, direct it. Make that, turn the bad into good, because you cannot eliminate the bad, cut it. It is impossible. The bad is there only to show you how important the good is. So you try to make it more harmonious. If there is no bad and we have no Yetzer Hara, there's no reward. There's no any kind of a desire to work. There's no free choice. So when it's only good, it's no good. But we need to realize that even the bad is good. If we just know what to do with it. And if something happened to us, see what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is trying to tell you. Don't complain. Don't cry. See it. And this will be the cure. Yeh Ratzon, that we shall all merit to work, Avodat, Hashem, from harmony and peace. Shabbat Shalom to all.